Hello everyone. Today we are here to discuss about the topic named bootstrap. So what exactly is bootstrap? Bootstrap is a CSS framework for developing responsive and mobile first applications. The latest version which we use for bootstrap is bootstrap 5. So bootstrap includes HTML, CSS and JavaScript based design templates for typography, forms, buttons and other interface components. So it is majorly used to create the responsive websites. So what exactly is responsive website? A responsive website can automatically adjust itself to look good on all devices. So now let us begin how to install Bootstrap. So there are actually three ways to install Bootstrap. So one way is directly download all the compiled CSS and JS files, or maybe the source files. So another one is using CDN. Just directly paste the link in the title, and the other alternative is using npm and yarn. So now let us look the first method, which is the using downloading all the source files. So click on the download option, go to getbootstrap.com website, click download. So once it is downloaded, so it will open a zip file. So open that zip file, just copy that zip file to another location. So here I have moved and extracted the files into this thing. So then now it will come like CSS and JS are the two folders which we have extracted. So this includes all the things which are required for the CSS and JS. These are the major templates which we use. So now open with code. So when we look at now this, so we have CSS, all the source files, and as well JS. All the JS source files are here. So now when we create, just write a normal uh, HTML code. So all these are included here. So before that, we must include all these files here. So for that, we use link. So you have to h reference bootstrap .cs css, which includes all the files, all the source files in it. And again, as well, in a similar way, we have to include all the source files of the JavaScript also. JS, JavaScript. Bootstrap.js. So this way we have included all these files. So now when we run this program, this program, so the text has appeared here. Now how to check these files which we have included, CSS and JSS are included in it. So now Control Shift and I, which opens console. When we check the network, so what are the files which we have included in this? We can notice. So here see. So Bootstrap CSS and Bootstrap.js are the files which I have included in this. So these two files are running efficiently in this. So in this way, this is the first way to install Bootstrap, and the other way is using CDN. So in this, we can just copy this, paste it here. So this is for both. So this is using CDN, where we can just copy the source files, just copy the link over there. And now when we run this, actually running this document, hello world, this is CDN. So when we use this, using this bootstrap, so this is the thing using CDN. Control Shift I, using this network. So see, so bootstrap min.css and bootstrap bundle.js are the two things which are running currently using when we use this CDN. So another way is using npm. So this is the command which is like npm init. And when we look at this, the second link, this contains popper. Popper is what exactly is popper? Is like popper is extension of what we are having in the JavaScript, or maybe it has extra additional features of other than the which are contained in normal form. And when we look at the third installation model, that is through npm. So this is a command which we use in the terminal, VS Code terminal. npm install bootstrap. That is a fifth version number. So using this command, we can actually install the bootstrap, and also using yarn. So when we type this command in the this thing, so this actually includes all the source files regarding this. And when we talk about yarn, yarn also includes all the files. So once the download is done, you can actually use the bootstrap. So now when we talk about bootstrap, what are the things that are present in bootstrap? This framework contains mainly the containers. So what we call containers are like, they are like basic place where the data can be stored in it. So container is the most basic layout element in a bootstrap and are required when using our default grid system. So what exactly grid system, that will talk in the later part of this video. Containers are used to contain, and they are actually used to pad between the two rows or two columns maybe in the grid system, which we actually discuss later. So along with the container class, when we give, for example, container hyphen sm, which gives small, basically it will be 100% until it is small. It will be 540 pixel if the display screen is small. It will be 720 pixel. It will be medium. So in this way, according to what the screen size is, according to it, the default containers will keep moving. So we'll just copy this code. This actually gives the responsive containers. So basic, just clear this out. So when we run this, so this actually is a breakpoint. See, so when I keep adjusting the my screen size, according to the screen size, the length or the width, I mean the sentence is changing according to the my screen. So when it is full, the screen size is full, only this point is still. Everything is more little bit this side. So again, when I change the size of the screen, slowly according to my screen, the sentences are also changing their positions. So this is a major usage why we use bootstrap. So these are basically the containers. So we also use what called as fluid containers. So stop with this. This is fluid. Oneness in the life server. So this is fluid container. So according to the size, this keep adjusting. So when we run this fluid container, so according to the screen size, it keeps adjusting itself. So this is the use of fluid container. So these are the main major things that are used in the containers. So now after containers, we move on to the grid system where, so what exactly grid is? So the full thing can be converted into columns where basically the data can be converted into columns and those columns adjust according to the screen size. So our grid support, I mean, how the breakdown of the columns are done is because each grid supports 6 responsive breakpoints. So breakpoints in the sense we have the number of columns that are possible in the screen size. So this is done according to the screen size. So for example, so this is one code, one column where there are only two columns that are containing. So according to the number of columns, the size of the column keeps adjusting and it will be of equal length. So this is a one major thing where we can do. So when we talk about the three columns division, each column will be having the same width. So we can also set the column width according to our size, how much we want. So from the first thing we can when we three column when we divide container into three columns, so it is not divided into three equal halves or three equal parts. The second container is divided little more than the first and third. So we'll just, so when we look at this code, in this code, uh, this column width is given as default. But here, when we look at this, column width is given as 6. 6 because so when there are when we type 6, it is like there are lesser break even points. This is the second type of how we can divide the containers, or the one how we can have the grids. So this is the third thing where we can vary the size of the uh, column according to the content in which it has. So this is the third type. So in this way, we can actually configure our columns and grids according to our usage. So according to our usage, we can actually divide our grid system into equal halves or variable lengths or variable divisions also. And in the similar way, we can actually use the concept called nesting. So what exactly is nesting is here because in the first column, so here we have one column. So in the second column, so here we have only two columns in the first major part. So one column is divided as a SM3 or small, very small, and 3, which is code is 3. And the second column is SM9. So one more thing what we have to remember is, so this number SM3 and SM9 must be equal to SM12. Okay. So in the level 2, this grid is created, or these two columns are created with equal width and equal length. So this is actually in the second grid, these two grids are created. So this is the code that that is used. So we'll just run this. So when we run this in the live server, so this is one grid, and this is the other grid, or this is the other column. These are divided into equal parts. So the next concept which we talk here is buttons. So what are the different buttons that we have? So when we use buttons, we actually use class button class. It is class BTN. This is the base class which we need to use. So in that class, we have there are eight types of buttons that are used. So this is a primary button. This is a secondary button. This is a success button which is used after completing a thing or after accomplishing a activity. This is a danger button which is used to give danger signals, and this is a warning button which makes the user looks like a warning. This info button which gives information. This is a light button because the it is when it is clicked upon, it just glows up or it is not actually seen in the background. And this is a dark button which in which the background of it the button is very dark. So now just copy this, run this on the live server. So these are the different buttons that are used here. So this is the primary button, this is secondary button, this is success, danger, warning. So when we observe here, so all these are invoked in the button class. Button class. So we can actually use a link button that exists, which is which provides a link also. So there are different varieties of buttons, or we can actually tag these buttons to different things. So these are the primary buttons that have been created. So we can actually change the outline of these buttons. So when talk about the outline, so what it does not the difference between normal buttons and outline buttons is that the box that button contains does not be filled with the color. So when we talk of the outline buttons, there is no color that is filled. So these are the buttons that can be used, and there are actually different sizes of buttons that can be used. So this is a large size of buttons, and these are the small size buttons. So large size and small size can be defined by using this between primary, and this is the primary button that is being created. This is secondary button that is being created, and among that primary button, this is a large button. LG is the uh, keyword that is used for mentioning it is large button or small button. We can actually custom our button with the size, how much size the button should be using the styles. Using we can also pad between the next element and the button. So these are the different ways in which we can use the buttons, and these are the disabled state. So disabled state is because it means the same thing as like, so at initial state these buttons will be in the disabled state. When when the pointer clicked on these buttons, it just gets into active state. So these are the disabled buttons that are being used. So block buttons. Block buttons is another type of buttons which are completely into the size of the screen. So let's just copy this. See, for example, so when I just keep moving this, or when I keep shrinking this, all this get uh, accustomed according to the screen size. So according to my screen size, these are getting adjusted. So this is the main advantage of using bootstrap. So when I increase the size, accordingly the button sizes and the number of elements that are contained in that are getting adjusted. So this is toggle states. Toggle states is similar state of a disabled state where it will be first disabled state, and when we click on it, it will become active. So these are the code that are being used for this toggle state. So the next concept that we need to understand here is a card. So what exactly is a card? Card is a flexible and extensible content container. It also includes options for headers, footers, and a variety of content, or maybe background colors or display options. So best example is, so this is example of a card. So this is example of card. We can actually insert image here. This is a card title, and this is a card details of the card, and there is a button that is being used here. So we can just copy this code and run this over here. So this is a card that has been created. So see, according to the size of the screen, the elements are being changed. This is the usage. So what exactly is the body of the card? So when we talk of the in the body card body, we can actually use a text or maybe any other type of input or maybe links that can be used there in the card body. So here we actually use text, titles, and also links. So this is a card title that has been used. These are the links that have been attached. So we can actually give the reference to those, so that when the link is clicked on that, the it will be diverted to that particular website. So how images are being inserted into the cards, and also how we can actually change the size of the images that are being present over there, and according to the size we can actually change the card size also. So the next topic what we take is list groups, where the list groups actually talks about how to define a list in a rows. So this is a list group which is defined. This is the card footer. These are the lists that has been defined, and this is the card footer that is being used. These are the major things that are needed for the cards. So now let us discuss one of the main concept called typography, where mostly we use paragraph tag, where we try to insert some text in the website or maybe in the thing. So there are actually 6 types of headings that Bootstrap uses. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6 are the 6 types of heading tags that are being used in the Bootstrap. So we can actually customize our headings. So first let us just check the headings thing. So let us go to the live server. So see, these are the 6 types of headings that are being used. So this is actually same as this. So here it it'll take by default H6 as a default header or heading tag. So now actually we can actually customize our headings. Basically, we can fade in something and we can fade out something in the same text or same line. So let us try this out. So under this H3 heading, we are actually fading out something and fading in something. So now let us run this. So see, so this is the actual content which is not fading out, but there is a faded content. We can actually observe the difference between these two statements. So when we adjust our size of the screen accordingly, the text is being adjusted. So the next concept is display headings. There are actually 6 type of display headings which we use. This display headings comes under the class display class. So according to the display class, we can actually use the display settings. So when we talk of the lead paragraph or make something lead, when we talk of the making something lead, this actually stands out, or maybe this will be preferred, or this will be looks different than other paragraphs that are being used in the same thing or same page. And there are different things which actually make the sentence, or we can actually highlight some part of the sentence and we can actually strike off the sentence. So these are the different things that are being used. So to actually highlight some part of the text, we use a tag mark tag is being used represent the text which is marked or highlighted for the reference or notation process purposes. And we use small tag that represents side comments and small print like copyright issues and legal text that are being used under the page. And U represents span of inline text which should be rendered in a way that it indicates it has a non-textual annotation. So this actually underlines the text that are being used. So these are the different things. So here it is highlighted some part of the text, and it actually strikes off, which means that the data is not necessary. It is actually uses underlines the data, and this actually makes the text bold, and this is italicized. So these are the different tags that are being used in this typography. So the next part which we use is images. So in that images, responsive images are main thing. So responsive image because the image can be of the full screen, and according to our screen, it should shrink and it should adjust according to our screen. We can actually align our images according to the screen. Maybe it should be aligned into the center, or maybe aligned into the left corner or right corner. Accordingly, we can align our images. So in this, So in the class, rounded float start. So these are aligned to the left and this image is aligned to the right. So accordingly, the images are being aligned. The next topic we talk about is the tables. So in this, we actually use a tag called a thread. So under this, we create what what are the column first. We create the columns first, and under the column, we actually link the column data to the rows. So in this way, we actually create the tables in this. So these are the major things that are actually needed for the bootstrap, that the initial beginner must learn how to use all these things in his development process. Thank you.